Ready? Ready? Are y'all ready? Cause it's red talk. It's red talk. Tabby, Tassie. Hey, it's red talk. Rare, authentic, real experiences. That's what it is. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of It's Rare Talk. I am your host, Ty B.
And I'm Tassie.
And we're so happy to have you guys on tonight. Thank you. We want to give thank yous to everyone that has been tuning in, have been sharing, commenting. I'm sorry for those that I have missed your comments, but just know that we love you and appreciate you all. Tonight we have one of those, tough topics. But our guest, we have the pleasure of sitting down with her for the second time, y'all. For those, well, none of you know, but our guest on tonight, like, she is a serial entrepreneur. She's a mom, an author. Yes. She's a creator. She's been running a salon for over 40 some years. And let me tell you something. If I didn't know where she was from, I would have thought she was down south, because her hospitality, when we came to her,
woo, oh my goodness.
You remember that spread, cousin?
Yes.
I thought about that today. I said she had the chicken and the mashed potatoes and the rolls and the fixings, y'all. Like, she took care of us. I'm telling you. Y'all got to step up the game. If y'all bringing us to you, y'all got to step it up. So I wanted to share that because it's a lighter note, y'all. So this topic is tough. We're talking about trauma, y'all. We're talking about trauma. So, cousin, I'm going to let you go ahead and jump in, because we're excited to have her on tonight, y'all. Her name is Joanne Nicole Bryce. And, cousin, I'm going to let you go from there.
Absolutely. I'm so honored to have you here on the show. Thank you once again for being with us. We are excited. We are happy to have you here. I'm excited how the Lord has truly used your life experience, and you are a true example of turning pain into purpose. And so I'm excited for what God is doing in your life. But we understand that what we see right now is your now. And we understand that even though we may see someone's now, there once was a then. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't mind, we're going to take you back to your days of then. So you are a sister, and so therefore your mother had 2 children. And tell us what that was like. Tell us what it was like, growing up initially with your mother and your sister. What was your mom's personality like?
Mommy was a nurturer. She was a lover. She was an affirmer, an encourager, a motivator. She was very affectionate. And she saw the good in anybody. She was a provider as a single mom. She was working and going to school, but she was always present. Like, you always knew she was there. We sat down, we ate dinner together. She ironed our clothes at night, laid them out.
Wow.
She just was a mom, yeah. an engaging mom, a mom that you'd be happy to come home to.
Oh,
that blessed my soul. Absolutely. That blessed my soul to hear that, because mommies ain't ironing no more.
Yeah, yeah.
And not just that, but there are a lot of moms that are not being mommies. And I love how you even say mommy. I love how you say mommy.
Yeah. I feel like mommy takes it back to that saying mom and mommy, cousin, you're right, is like it changes even the meaning of it. A lot of times people feel like, well, when we get grown, we don't say mommy no more, we say mom, but we're listening to you here describe your mommy and sounding like she was awesome, right? Like you said, a mommy that you would be happy, to come home to. Was she strict? Was she easygoing?
Unmute, Joanne.
That's circumstantial. It depends on what she had to respond to. When it came to discipline, she didn't spare the ride at all. She let the ride go. She let the ride go. She didn't play. I remember one time I used to like to play with fire, and I didn't never got caught. When I finally got caught, we were standing in the kitchen, and I had set the curtain on fire.
Oh my
And
God.
it was a sheer, so it burned pretty quick and in place.
Yeah.
So mommy just was standing there, right calm, just looking at with me. So I was like, "Ooh, this is the thing to do." So she got the pot holder, and man, as soon as that curtain got done burning, she took that ride down and tore my high with that hot rod.
Oh my
Like
God.
when you did something you weren't supposed to do, she was real dramatic at teaching you the lesson so that you would not repeat the error of your ways, I'll say.
Yeah.
Joanne,
But-
did you burn down any more curtains after that?
No. I probably didn't light a candle till I was in my 20s.
Right.
No.
Listen,
No,
cousin,
no.
my next question to her was going to be, can you share a memory?
A fond memory.
I will never ever forget that.
Absolutely. Goodness gracious. Don't have me thinking when I'm lighting stuff.
Mm. Just move
I
it
will
away from
never.
everything. You got to move it away from everything. I got a couple that around here now. You just got to move the candles away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, moving forward, just a little bit more. Do you remember like holidays? Do you have any fond memories of a holiday or birthday with mommy?
Every day was a holiday to mommy, but the one thing that I remember her doing so often was on Sundays. She just would pick a random family member, and we just would go spend Sunday with them. We would just hang out, eat, talk, just be in the moment.
Wow.
And she done that all the time. If we weren't there, she gonna leave you a note, and then we going to the next house. But we are going to fellowship with some family on Sundays.
That is important. That's
Yeah.
important. And we need to get back to the Sundays. We were doing them. We were doing them, and then we kind of stopped. You know how sometimes when you lose like grandmother or those that are significant, sometimes we lose that. But we got to keep that going. So I'm glad you brought that up on tonight. Is that something you do now, the Sundays?
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, not that often, but I leave notes. I leave a lot of notes. I send a lot of cards, and but actually this year, November, I just realized that it's 5 generations of us on my dad's side. So we're all going over for Thanksgiving, and I got a photographer to come get us some good shots.
That's good.
So I can't wait to do that. We haven't done it in a couple of years.
Creating memories. Yeah.
Yes.
And it sounds like your mom was very family oriented.
Yes.
I love that, to take time out on a Sunday and say that we're going to go visit others. And, if they're not there, we're going to leave a note if we're going to go on to the next house. Like, I think that's pretty amazing. Right. And so now, go ahead, cousin. I'm sorry.
Cousin. No, go ahead. We both excited. Got all these questions.
So as we're moving forward, and at this point now, your mom has a boyfriend. Okay. And tell us about your initial thoughts of your mom's boyfriend.
That it just was her friend. We didn't have any type of, like, she's had boyfriends in the past, but we had like more relationship. But I could definitely tell that this particular person was just wanting to be in relationship with mommy. Like, it wasn't a package deal for him. It just was mommy.
Got you.
Wow.
It was real divided.
Real divided. Okay. Now you were still so young then. So when were there real like concerns, like something ain't right with him or this relationship, or why is mommy even talking to him?
The screaming and hollering, and I never seen them physically fight, but I could hear through the walls in the next room, the fussing, the cussing, the throwing her against the wall, and just the degrade. I heard that often, and I was like, this is wild. Like, why are we in this environment? Why are we in this atmosphere?
Okay.
But she would come right back out that room, smiling and grinning, ready on clothes, making sure we eat like nothing ever happened.
Wow.
What a mommy.
Yeah.
What a mommy. When I think about things such as that, because mothers will do anything to protect, real mothers, to protect, to shelter their
Mhm.
children, right? Mothers have learned to mask pain. You understand what I'm saying? To mask discomfort because they don't want their children to be exposed. They don't want their
Yeah.
children to know what's going on. And so, what a mommy, right? And you said, even after hearing all of that, in the next room and understanding at this point, still as a child, that something is not right. But when the door opens, mommy still presents herself as mommy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what age do you think you were around this time?
I was 10. Well, no, I wasn't 10. I was 9.
Okay.
I was 9 when that first the arguments and stuff started.
Mhm. And so can you say that you witnessed the arguments becoming more severe?
No, because it just was always yelling, screaming, pushing, and shoving.
Mhm.
But then just one day, actually it was January 10th, 1982, my grandma came and got us and told us that we needed to go to the hospital.
Mhm.
And I walked in the hospital and she had galls around one side of her face. She had a body cast, 7 of her ribs was broke, her ankle was broke. And I'm like, what's going on here? I'm just thinking, car accident. It never even dawned on me
Mhm.
that he literally beat her up.
Mm.
Mm.
Wow. Was she conscious? Was she conscious when y'all got there to see her?
When we got to see her, she was.
Wow.
She
Do you
was. And she just cried.
Just cried.
Mm-hmm.
You think it was more so because y'all seen her like that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
To seeing her like that, and also I think her now where I'm at now, as a child, I didn't feel like that. I just was like, what's going on? But now I think that those tears were her internal pains too.
Got you.
Mm.
Wow. What was your grandmother? Did she say much during all of this? When the abuse started to progress, because even that verbal abuse, you know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
one form. So, like you said, it started with the cussing and the screaming. What did your grandmother try to shelter y'all from it, or did she say anything? Did you go to her and talk to her about any of this stuff?
Well, my grandmother she doesn't really talk about real life things. You just live, like, because that's how she was. She just had to figure it out and live. So, but she really didn't know exactly all that was going on until she had to take us to the hospital that day.
Oh,
and then she became a pit bull.
Wow.
Yeah, she was at his
Explain a little bit
neck.
more of that when you say pit bull.
Like when she would see him, it was all gas, no brakes. She was at his neck wherever she would see him at, telling him to stay away from my mom. And my grandma was a little lady, 5'4", and I think he's like 6'2", but she would not back. She was in his face every chance she got. And she tried to, of course she couldn't file papers and stuff because mommy was over 21. But any way she could intervene, she was on it.
Did he keep trying to show up, even though your grandmother made it known, don't come here? Did he continue to try to show up at the house or reach out to your mom?
When she got out the hospital, she went, because we didn't live with her. So when she got out the hospital, she went to stay. Grandma wanted us to come stay with her, of course.
Okay.
So yeah, he would call and she would grab that. You remember the rotary phone? She would slam that thing down. But yeah, he kept calling, even in spite of the restraining orders and all that.
Wow. So, okay. Do you recall how long she was in the hospital?
No.
Okay. Did you, I know it was so long ago, but can you remember if you had a thought or ever said, I don't ever want to see him again, or he better not come back around? Like, do you remember ever thinking that or saying anything to your mom concerning him coming back around?
No, because I just knew that my mom always took care of us, and I knew that
Okay.
she would be okay. That's how it's weird, because like that's how she raised us to survive. And I just knew, my confidence was in her, because she's always taking care of us. She's always made sure everything was okay. And I just forever knew that that's what she was going to be and who she was going to be.
Yeah.
That's powerful at a young age for you to even be able to,
But hold on, cousin, not only just powerful, obviously her mother had to be impactful.
Very.
She had to be the mommy to set that standard that no matter what, mommy's coming through, right? Because Joanne would not have been able to think that.
Yeah.
Or put it in that type of perspective that I trust mommy. So mommy had already set this foundation for her kids that mommy got y'all. And
not only that, God was giving her the wisdom and knowledge of what to feed us, because he knew ultimately everything that was going to happen.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And so, and I don't want to get too far in the show, but looking at it from that perspective, from the eyes of an adult now, right? Like you said, as a kid, you wouldn't be able to look at it like that, or even growing up, but now as an adult, you're able to look back on the situation and look at it from a whole different view, which makes the fact of you turning pain into purpose even more understanding. Right? But lead us into that day.
I went to school that day. It was funny because me and my mom was beefing, and she did that whole lick her finger and wipe the side of your face and then send you into school, because she took us to school. She was that mom. She took us to school every day. And so I just was like, I need you to stop doing that. That's so embarrassing and it's nasty. Use my own spit. We going back and forth. But later on that evening, she worked 3 to 11. So later on that evening, she would always call around 6 to see if we needed help with homework, or, if we needed to be up, because she would say, well, go to bed now, because when I get up, I'm gonna wake you up and you need to get this homework done.
Yeah.
And I needed help that night. So I fell off to sleep, and I woke up about 11, expecting her to come home. But I woke up because I was having pains in my chest. I mean, my chest just was hurting. It was like, I just was having pain. I can't even describe it, but it was like taking my breath away. So I ran in my grandma's room, and I was like, I can't breathe. I'm having pains in my chest. I was like, and something is wrong with mommy. And she was like, what? I was like, she's supposed to be here. She's going to help me with my homework. And she was like, no, she might have just went to the club or something. I was like, no, I have homework. So I knew she was coming home. And she was like, Joanne, just go lay back down and she'll wake you up when she get here. So I went and laid back down, but I think I was only down for like 20, maybe 30 minutes. And then my head started pounding. I mean, it felt like somebody had dropped a cement brick on my head. And I went back in my grandma's room and she was gone. So I was like, this is crazy. So I went in my, and her husband my grandfather was gone. And then I went in my aunt's room and she was gone. So I was like, where is everybody at? Me and Kia my sister were the only ones there. So I just went and I lay back down, but my head would not stop pounding. And then I heard all this commotion. There was a car outside. And I was like, what is going on? And it was so much noise, sobbing. And I mean, you could just hear the pain from my grandma's stomach. And like my aunt, one of my cousins said my aunt was bringing her in the house. And I just was standing at the top of the steps. Look, I focused on the door because I could see the door as soon as it opened. And they were literally carrying my grandma in the house. So I was like, I looked at my aunt, she was standing at the bottom of the steps. She was like, come here, Joanne. And I was like, where mommy at? And she just simply said she's dead. I rushed down the steps past her, and my cousin had a Dodge Gremlin. Remember them? It was like a poop brown Dodge Gremlin.
Oh my God.
And I jumped right in that car and drove to the hospital because I was determined to see my mom.
Now, wait. So how old are you now?
13.
You're 13 years old. You run down the steps. You get in the car and drive yourself to the
Yeah.
hospital because you wanted to see your mom.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
My mom taught me how to drive when I was 12. She got sick and I had to take her to the hospital. And she had a 5-speed and she taught me how to drive.
Mm,
Oh my goodness.
what a wise
I
woman.
mean,
Yes.
like I really,
Like
I really
cousin, it was almost like she was setting things
Yeah.
in order.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Joanne, let me ask you a question. So after that first hospitalization, did
Mhm.
you know that your mom went back, or did she not go back into a relationship?
I kind of thought she did. I had like a woman in a wishing kind of thing going on. I could tell because her attitude would shift because he's so needy. He just needs so much attention. And then when he don't get it, he just be crying and crying and crying, lashing out. And it just was the constant calls and the hang-ups and the leave me alone and so I guess, and finally one day he just was waiting outside of her job for her because she wouldn't talk to him.
Hmm.
So
Did you ever get like the details? Okay, he was waiting. Did she get in a car with him? Like, where did it take place? Do you know where it happened when he attacked her?
That she was at her car and they started walking out in sets of 3s because he was threatening and stuff. But the facility didn't have anybody on the inside, to man the door. So the door automatically locked. So when they came out in 3s and the 2 heard mommy fussing, and then one of the ladies did yell for him to leave her alone, but they ended up getting in the car.
So your mom got in the car?
No, they got in their car and left, and he stabbed her 34 times, but he stabbed her in her chest area, and the last stab was in her head. And nobody can tell me that was not what I was feeling that night.
Because you woke up and the
Yeah.
first thing you thought about is, where's mommy?
Something was wrong with her. Something was wrong with her. Mm-hmm.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so he shows up at her job. Some people out there, they end up leaving, and she's just out there with him, and he's just going in, just stabbing her repeatedly.
Yep. Madman.
When you got to the hospital, what happened? What did you encounter? Because then the police come get, like, did you, the police come get you?
Yeah, it took me back home. I told them I could drive home, just follow me. So they didn't need 2 people, and then somebody had to come back.
Oh.
But
you get home, what do you recall? What do you remember? I know it's been so long, but I know some things are still fresh. But what do you recall when you get home and the days following? Like, just take us on this journey.
I just remember coming back in the house. Everybody's still, crying. Everybody is crying and upset, but everybody's just so disconnected. Like, somebody sitting here, somebody sitting here, somebody hitting there. So I just went upstairs in my room and I just sat to myself. And I used to always, and like when it came time for her funeral, I mean, it was so, I had on the ugliest dress, first of all. This tan dress with these red trim. I'll never forget that ugly dress. But the casket was closed, of course, because her body was so beat up. And it was so many people there, but it was like I just was invisible at the same time. It just seemed like I just was walking around. I just had a bubble around me. And it just was like I was just I don't know. And even growing up later, it was like I did something wrong. Like that's how people be scared to approach me, or or I don't know, it just seemed like I did something wrong.
Gosh.
And that's what we want to talk about. We want to, so leading us right into our next set of questions. Growing up without your mom. Now you're 13. Your mommy, your safe place, your safe haven is now gone. And so there's a place of bitterness that's starting to rise up. Tell us about who raised you, and tell us about that place of anger and rightfully so. But what was that like at that time?
My grandmother raised me, but at the same time, her daughter was murdered. You know, she's not getting no help. She's hurt. She don't know how to deal. She's not in any type of therapy. You know, therapy wasn't nothing back then. You pray and you move.
Yeah.
You figure it out, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it pretty much was every man was for himself. Because then now she's in her room, I'm in my room, my sister in her room, and we all just doing what we doing in our room. It's no type of, we don't sit down at the dinner table with each other. Everything just became so disconnected. And then I just was always in my thoughts. But man, listen, I had a best friend named Lisa. I call Lisa. She came to my house every single day. And her mom would pick her up about 9 o'clock. And if I said, why are you here? Just go home and leave me alone. She'll sit right in that corner. I ain't bothering you. Shut up. If I wanted to talk, she would talk. If I want to scream, holler, and cuss, she just look at me.
Yeah.
But she always tell me that it totally changed my person.
Wow.
But that's still my best friend.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
Her and Pam, I don't know what I would do without them too.
Oh,
I got a
God,
couple good girlfriends. I don't want to leave nobody out. Anybody watch the live.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
During that time, it was them two and two other ones who have exhausted our relationships. But they really, really know who I am, accept me for who I am. They let me be who I needed to be during that time. And they was there. I talked trash to them. I called them out their names. Whatever I needed to do to be me, they allowed it and loved me for it.
That's good. That's good. And I want to ask you, because you did graduate and, you know, but did you get any counseling in school? Like, I'm sure they knew. Nobody ever pulled you aside and talked to you in school about, you know, what had happened?
Not even when I was losing my mind, beating up the teachers and the secretaries. No.
They just treated you like you were being bad. They pretty much, she just angry. She's a bad girl, angry girl, not getting to the root of what happened.
Yes, I had two counselors who, one was Black and one was white, literally, Miss Barang and Miss Cuffy. And Miss Barang, I wouldn't let nobody be my guidance counselor for the rest of my time in high school. And Miss Cuffy was the secretary in that office. And when I was off, they know I come through that door rolling. But but they would they definitely helped me get through those years in that building.
That's great. Because I can't imagine not having nobody, you know what I mean? Like, no, and just to throw something in real quick, it made me think about my husband was said to me when his parents passed, because I think he was like 7 and his parents passed 6 or 7 months apart. And it was like, nobody brought it up. Nobody pulled him aside in the school and like really took him under, you know what I mean? And so he always felt alone and out of place and stuff like that. So that's a lonely place, you know what I mean? To not have that. So thank God for your friends. And I'm praying all those that are viewing and hear it, that are your friends too, that everybody should know that, you know, that they know their place. You know what I mean? You acknowledge the 2 that were there, but everybody should know their place. But I just wanted to mention that, because now all we're hearing about is mental health, and they're getting into schools now and talking to the kids. But back then, that wasn't a big thing. It was like, what happens in this house, stay in this house. And nobody wanted to talk about anything.
I hate that.
Don't you hate that?
Yes.
And I think with those sayings and those actions or behaviors of back in the day, it affected in so many ways. It, you know what I mean? That saying of what goes on in this house stays in this house, or you know what I mean? That stuff it ruins and damages individuals, right? And so I heard you say like you was acting out, like fighting and doing this and doing that. And you know, without those resources, you know what I mean, to be able to help you process it. Because like you said, now in the household, when you was used to having mommy saying, what was your day like? Do you have homework? Do you need this? Let's go visit. Let's hang out. All of that now has been snatched from you. And so here you are now, you know what I mean? I've lost my mommy and then I got to process this because now everything around me has shifted.
Yeah.
Nothing looks the same anymore, but I'm expected to act the same.
Right. Right.
And so that right there is even issues of today, right? Which is why I felt, you know what I mean, such an urge and with my cousin to bring you on, because a lot of people stop right there at the injury.
Yes.
A lot of people, you had your areas of rage, you had the arenas of bitterness, like you had that. And once again, rightfully so, your world had been snatched from you. You know what I mean? At such a young age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we can tell from the way that you talk about your mom that y'all had a loving relationship. You know what I mean? Even though you said the day she dropped y'all was beefing, but that could be probably what mothers and daughters do. But you can tell that there was a loving relationship. And so here you are, 13, I got to process this. Now I'm going through life. And as you go through the stages of life, grief looks different. How grief may have looked when you was 13. You know what I mean? And now as you go on through life, grief gonna look different at 20.
Yeah.
Right. And so here you are now still trying to be a sister. You know what I mean? You have your grandma, but once again, everything around you, your world is now shifted. And now you're leading into an adult, but you still have unresolved stuff in you. Right? You know, let's just talk about that for a second now. Because I feel like people don't understand. I think sometimes people put grief on a timeline. There is no timeline when it comes to grief. You know what I mean? And even now, at your age now, even though it's been some years, I can still hear in your voice when you're talking about mommy. Right? It's almost like you still hear that young girl talking about mommy. You know. And so tell us, as you was growing older, getting older, now, you know, that was at 13 and now, you know, let's take us to the point where relationships are starting to happen in your life. You know what I mean? And did this situation with your mother impact your life in any way when it came time for you to date?
Yes. Because I started doing the same thing. I got to nurture a man. I got to take care of him. I got to make sure he's okay. I got to make sure he has everything he needs along with my children. So when it's time for me to do something for my children and he wants something too, and my child is going to come first, then it's conflict. And honey, one thing for certain and two for sure, them 3 J's and all them other 5 that I took care of too, no, nothing or nobody's coming before them.
So how old were you when you had your first child?
19.
And
then that's another thing. I was in so many relationships without being in relationships. Not asking questions, not finding out who you are. Just having to have some type of love because my mom was so much love that I didn't care where it came from. And then I didn't feel worthy because of all the shunning I got growing up. She's never going to do nothing. She's going to have a bunch of babies and not take care of them. Like, they was really speaking that stuff over my life. But at that time, I wasn't familiar with spirits and people speaking over your life. My grandmother practiced Jehovah's Witness, so that we didn't work in the spirit. We didn't deal with the spirit. So I didn't know how to renounce that stuff and rebuke that stuff. I just was walking right on in it and walking, enjoying it, living my best life. Study trying to mask the real pain that I should have been dealing with.
You said something very profound. You said that I was dealing with the rejection and the trauma is often the root to so much stuff.
Yeah.
Right? This happened to you, wasn't processed, wasn't really dealt with, or dealt with in the ways that people know how to deal with it. Let me put it that way. You know what I mean? So here you are, and now all this other stuff is coming. Rejection, abandonment, you know what I mean? Relationships that's not worthy, or that you feel like you shouldn't be in. You know what I mean? All this other stuff, right? And so now here you are as an adult, you know what I mean, trying to walk this thing out called life.
Right.
With stuff attached to you.
Every which way but loose.
Absolutely. Right? Almost, you know what I mean, in such a way, like you said, you masked a lot of things, you know what I mean, to not tune in with the pain. Right? So that means now a whole nother person is being created. Yeah. The real Joanne is behind the mask.
Somewhere lost, just walking around looking for herself.
Yes. And so I remember when we had our initial interview, you were sharing like some really deep things. And those are things that we really don't have to go into, but like some really deep things. And then you said, I'm going to tell you what truly changed the whole trajectory of my life. And you said that you know, your grandma was Jehovah's Witness, and you didn't find solace, or you did not begin to mend until you met Jesus.
Listen, one of them best friends, Pam, she went and found Jesus first. Well, you know, growing up, when my mom first passed away, Bishop Wharton was not playing about me still going to church. Mommy took me to church when I was younger. When she passed away, Bishop Wharton kept coming to get me. But of course, you know, as I got older, you know how we do, fall by the wayside. And then also, you know, struggling, dealing, in pain, grieving, don't feel like, you know, nothing is happening for me. But Pam, my best friend, found Jesus, and our relationship started going further and further apart. Nah, sis, nah, no, you ain't. And literally, you know, I started working on my relationship with God, and I was so caught up in the rules, the regulations, the laws of religion, and I did not have a relationship. I didn't have an ear. I didn't have an unction. I didn't have a feeling for the things of God, and when God was talking to me. Because then once I did, I was like, man, God told me that, you know, a long time ago, my dumb behind still phone chill. You know, and it just changed everything. It taught me how to forgive, and not just by word, but by deed. It taught me how to be open and consider people foundations. Everybody has a story. And in their story, it determines and leads to how they live their life until they make a decision. I had a miserable childhood. I was angry. I was bitter. I was rejected. I was born into rejection. Father didn't want to know who I was. Got 2 different men on my birth certificate. Like, all of that stuff carries. Yeah. But at the end of the day, God is my daddy. God is my daddy, and he affirms me and shows me and uses me in mighty ways. And for so long, I stood behind the chair 46 years, helping people save lives, helping people create businesses, helping people open up this, open up that, figure out the problems to this, how to solve that, how to beat suicide. I mean, for years, I've done that. I am the child of the Most High. Yeah. I refuse to be miserable in my adulthood.
And
so if I'm miserable in my adulthood, I can't walk in my purpose.
That's right. That's right. Do you remember that moment, like that aha moment? I know once you met Jesus is when you really start to like live and know that, okay, there's still freedom. Like, what? Forget all the do's and I can't do this. Not there's freedom, right? But what was your moment where it was like, okay, you're tired of crying or being angry and you just want to get up and live, like to become your best self? Do you remember or recall? Because it might not have been just one time, you know, because as we go from grace to grace, glory to glory. So do you remember those times, those moments of like, I'm ready to live. I'm ready to just get this off of me.
September the 7th, 2012. It was my son's 15th birthday, my middle son. My mother's death anniversary is September the 6th.
Mhm.
Every year for 15 years, I would forget my baby's birthday. And that particular year, I would forget it until like the last minute. It would be either the 5th or the 6th. And I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta go get him something. But this particular year, I don't know why I know what happened. The man who killed her sent me a piece of mail, and it just threw me all off. And I was back in my little dark place again, and I totally forgot his birthday. So that morning I was on my way across the bridge to get him something. And it was the first time I heard God audibly telling me that I gave you a gift. I can't replace your mom, but I gave you a gift, and you're still in turmoil. My middle son is my mom's whole face, his personality, his actions. He is her, me, and his dad all mixed up. But he does something for me. All of my kids do something for me, but he knows when to come. He knows when I'm off. He knows he can read me. And he do not play about, he the no limit soldier for real. He'll go at anybody's neck behind his mama, including his mama.
Yeah. Wow. I think, Joanne, it's just so good to see you smile. From the very first time that I met you, I know Ty has known you for a long time, but from the first time I met you, that's what you embraced me with, is a smile. Very kind, very sweet. When I think about you, I think about, you could be a woman bitter, stuck in a corner somewhere, mad, angry with the world, hate every male. That could be you. But to see you smile, to see you say, okay, I'm not staying in that place, as my cousin said. And as you have stated, Jesus has changed. And it may have to be a part 2 to this, because your story is phenomenal, right? And it's so many pieces that we really have skipped over, but we got a chance to hear during our initial interview that blew my mind.
Yeah,
right?
same here.
And second of all,
here.
only God can allow a person to forgive somebody who has taken away a loved one in such a way that you have a smile on your face, a smile of peace. Only God can do that. Only God. You know what I mean? Even some of to the extreme measures that you have went concerning your mom, only God. Right?
And I want to share something with you too, Joanne.
Go ahead.
Some of your training ground was, well, now when you were behind that chair, you're listening to everybody else's problems, right? And God has made you a problem solver. You have been able all this time. Now you can get paid for it. Your gift make room.
Yeah.
Think about, really thinking about your life, all those years behind that. You were counseling, you know what I mean? You were doing interventions. You were showing up for other people's kids, you know what I mean? Not just your 3 J's. And I know how you are about your children. You love your children, and you love Jesus, and people better come correct when it comes to your kids, right? Okay.
All of them.
But you had been in training all that time to help people, because some people haven't been through now everybody had their own story. I'm not saying that, and I know I can't minimize people's story. Everybody got a testimony, but there are people that have not been through things that detrimental, because it wasn't just that you lost a loved one. Your mother, the person that brought you into this world, was literally snatched, you know what I mean? Without a goodbye and all that. But God was with you. Now you know, because I know you had those moments. God, what? Who? Where? So, I don't want to hear that. But you got to the place where he got you to the place, because his spirit draws us, right? Nobody can come to him unless he draws you. You responded to the draw. You might not have knew fully what that was, but you responded to the draw, and only God can do that. And that means he trusts you, Joanne. That means he trusts you. And I know you would be the first to admit and tell on yourself that you ain't do things right. You probably went upside some heads. Ain't no probably. You went upside some heads.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You had your boots and let me get these air, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I look at your growth. I look at even all of that, you still want to be better. You know, you want to be better. And you realize my kids are dependent upon me at the end of the day, you know? So, and I love your relationship with them. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out. Like you've been in training, preparation all this time. All this time. Now it's time for another level. It's like you've been promoted. I'm telling you, God, his faith is valuable. When people go through that hard stuff, I've learned that God values all of us, right? And we know that he don't have respect of person, but he bestows favor. And everybody's not fit to go through some of the things that others go through.
Right.
But obviously, he got something even that's going to blow your mind, girl. And I know you've been meeting people and speaking into people, but you ain't even seen nothing yet.
Yeah, I received that.
I'm serious. I know what I know. And I don't take that lightly, but I'm telling you, because we're not going to always be talking about, I can't wait till I get to the place of when you're walking in it. You're literally about to walk in it.
Listen.
And being amongst people that you didn't think you should be in a room with.
Oh my
what
God.
I'm saying?
Listen.
I'm telling you.
Prophesy, honey.
Because it is, I'm serious, like, and you know what? Sometimes we outgrow places and things and people but because my husband is right there now. He said, babe, I've been helping people on the outside, fixing them up. Now I'm trying to change their mindset, trying to help. And I know that's where you are. You know what I mean? We've been fixing this outer up. Okay, let's get to the root. Let's fix these hearts, forgiveness, and all of that. Because I know you can share some things. And cousin, you said it. We're gonna have to do part 2.
But you know what, cousin, you said something. Because here's the thing. All of it was going to work for her good.
All of it.
The Bible speaks to that. And so what I love about God is that he's strategic.
Yes.
He allowed you, Joanne, to go through all of that. And now look what you're doing in return.
Yep.
Yes.
Right? You talk about taking you from a place of being broken to whole. And now he has strengthened you. And look who you're going back to the broken people.
Yes.
Right? And to me, here's what I love about God. Listen, pain recognizes pain.
Yep.
Right? Because you walked in those shoes. Because what better person than to go back and reach them?
Right.
What better person than somebody who has had to grow up, unfortunately, motherless, who has lived it, who has experienced it, who has cried herself to sleep, who has had different events at school that her mom couldn't come to, who had to go through homecoming, who had to go through prom, who had to go through giving childbirth, all of this without her mother. You have
I mean, I couldn't even go to no proms and no homecomings, not with the people of the world. I didn't do none of that until I moved out my senior year and I was able to go to prom.
Wow.
I couldn't do gymnastics. I couldn't play no sports. And I was a track star.
Jesus.
Listen, I want to talk about pain to purpose. Let's talk about purpose. Let's talk about some things that you're actually doing with the help of the Lord that excites me.
Well, my training, since I did my thug life training behind the chair. Now to go get my certification, I went through Bloom U Atlanta under the tutelage of Dr. Tavis Taylor. And I just been taking courses with her to know what I'm doing in my coaching now that I have the emotional side, but I needed the blueprint to follow so that I can get people on track where they need to be. And I created a program called Hangouts with the Launcher. Because I help girls develop their inner compass. I'll teach them how to believe in themselves, and we're going to focus on finding and lining things up for a future. I'm also going to teach them about engaging in healthy relationships while dealing with peer pressure and risky behaviors involving drugs and alcohol that'll help them avoid conflicts and also resolve disputes. We also going to be talking about racism. But once they complete the program, you're going to meet a whole new young lady who's more understanding, a communicator. She's happier. She's going to be equipped, empowered to launch into the next phase of her life with the skills that I teach. They'll apply to anything though. So they'll always be forever present.
I
I
love
got
it.
excited.
I love it.
Look, wait a minute. I got to come up with another word that excited, because to hang out with the launcher, listen, we need that. We need a day where we can hang out with the launcher, because launchers move. They make progression. That means they're going somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Come on, we got to set that up. Hanging out with the launcher.
But wait, cousin, how about when she said embracing the inner compass?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Mm.
We so often are meant to be quiet. We're meant to be quiet, and we're meant to hide how we really, really feel, because we're so concerned with how everybody else feel about how we feel. Mm-hmm. My story has been dummied down for 38 years because everybody's, oh, you just need to be quiet. Just deal with it. It's done. It's over with. Like, get out my face. It happened. It made a difference. And it got me to where I am today. I don't want to see nobody else suffering. I don't want nobody sitting in the corner all in pain. And like, as these kids now, they just went through a pandemic. Right. They've been in the house with people they don't like and don't like them sometimes. They need an outlet. They're walking around with no voice.
Yeah.
And the more you walk around with no voice, I don't want them to be 50 like I am to arrive, and I haven't even all the way arrived. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you don't take so long soaking in that, because then you in bad relationships and you having all these kids. I had 3 kids by 3 different men. That is 3, 6, 9, 12 personalities I have to deal with on a daily basis. Him, me, and what we made.
Yeah.
Like that, people need to think about that stuff. That makes a difference in a household. You gotta,
that's good.
I mean, you don't know who you're gonna wake up to in the morning.
That's good stuff. True. That's good
Very
stuff.
Good.
Being careful with who you breed with. That's good stuff. But I also like you. I like what you see. You said something. You said people saying just get over it, just get over it, just get over it. Get over what? Okay, get over the fact. You want me to get over the fact that my mom passed away? Okay, but guess what? Let's look. Let's check out the residue. My mom passed away, but let's check out what I got going on from the result of that. Right? And that's what people do. People just want to just say, oh, forget it, or act like it doesn't happen. No, expose it, deal with it, like you said, and then you're able to properly, you're healthy. You're able to move on in a healthy way, right? Because we learn how to malfunction well. You understand? We learn how to that is a problem. We learn how to malfunction well. No, if something is broken, it's not designed to be broken. Listen, fix it.
That's it.
And that's the problem.
Because we malfunction, everything connected to us malfunctions.
It leaks right down. And that's the thing. When people are growing up and they see these behaviors in people, I can't stand it. Oh, that's just how they are. No, they just like that because nobody has addressed it.
Yeah,
you need to address it so it won't grow into a bigger monster.
That's good. That's good.
And you ain't even giving us everything on tonight, honey. You hold back. But you said a lot. But one of the things you did say, that because I try to be a note taker. Note takers are money makers. We can't keep quiet, because how you gonna help folks? How you overcome by your testimony. So if you keep quiet, how do you continue to overcome? So we can't even listen to stuff other people saying. They rubbish. That's rubbish. And those are people that are stuck.
Right.
Those are people
and
that
that's
are
what's
stuck.
wrong. But that also is another hindrance, because you're going around here and you make it like, oh, you so churchy. You ain't no earthly good. Your poop did stink. So now you can't tell the testimony. So you're just watching people make mistakes because you don't want to expose yourself.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I did it. I got a t-shirt, a mug. I broke it. It's good.
Yeah.
Joanne, I love you. I love your realness and transparency. Because when people tell their story, they only tell partial. They tell the part that make them look good. No, tell it all. Tell what you did. Tell, Lord.
Yes.
You're gonna tell it all, tell the truth. You know what I mean? And that's how you help people, that realness, getting to the root of it. Oh my God, this is
even with my children, one day they were talking about this lady, one of their friends' mom or whatever, being promiscuous. I was like, excuse me. I got 3 baby dads. I'm gonna need y'all to chill off all that because your mom ain't been no saint.
Yeah.
And somebody could be sitting at their house talking about your mom right now, just like that.
That's good.
You know, it's just the reality of it.
That's good. That's good. Transparency is good. And I always say, when you deliver, you can tell it. If you deliver from it, if you heal from it, you can tell it. I can tell on myself. I can say whatever I've done wrong. If God has delivered me, if God has delivered me and I have the ability to share it, what are you going to do to me by keep talking to other people about it? I already owned it.
And not only that, I get so tickled when people come at you with your stuff. This girl told me one time, don't nobody want to talk to you. You used to be a hoe. I know, and you know too, because you used to do it with me, but you don't want to tell nobody. Like, get out of here. Like, come on. But people just, and it's damaging. It is damaging.
It is.
Yeah,
it really is.
So because it could, like, when I was growing up, if somebody would just be honest and say, no, you don't want to know about that. Don't worry about that. I know I told my grandmother, I just asked you about sex education. Don't worry about that, Joy. Don't worry about that. So every Tuesday and Thursday, when she was going to her meetings, my little sex teacher was passing her by, teaching me about sex education. All you had to do was tell me. All you had to do was tell me. Like, just carry on the conversation. When your kids want to carry on the conversation, they want to talk, allow them to speak. Hold your little soft feelings. Hold them. Just hold them, because give them a free space. I don't want my kids going to find out anything in the streets, because the streets don't love them.
That's right. That's right.
Ask me. It might hurt. I might want to cut my eyebrows off, but we're going to tell. Sometimes the stuff they tell me, I don't want it, but I'd rather them come and share it with me.
That's
Absolutely.
That's it.
Listen, I'm so glad that the Lord has healed you and that you are doing some absolutely, you are doing some amazing things. And so if someone would like to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
They can go to my Linktree. Let me see. I should be able to post it on the thing. I will be speaking at a Calling All Lioness that Come Sick with Success, Been Not Broken event, December the 10th.
Yes.
In Graysonville. But I'll also be speaking in Atlanta on December the 2nd at a mastermind. And I'll add the link later, because you probably can buy tickets to see that online. I know that they're sold out in person. Okay. But outside of that, I'm having a webinar to introduce my whole program on Saturday at 12 o'clock. And it'll be in my LinkedIn tree. I'm working on the flyer. I was trying to have it done by today, but I was running around. I had my makeup done today, so I just had to be seen all day.
You look marvelous, girl.
Thank you.
So we'll definitely make sure that we know that.
Thank you.
We'll definitely make sure that we. Do you have a website?
My website is joannebryce.com.
Okay, perfect. We just want to make sure we get that out there, because I know that you are doing some amazing things.
If you look in your inbox on Facebook, that LinkedIn that I tagged you in, it's everything that I do and everything that I offer, all of my ebooks. I have a couple of journals on there, gratitude journal, a journal for little girls and teenagers. And if someone is stuck in their prayer life and need a jump boot, I got a book in there for that too.
Okay. I will definitely make sure I post that, because I think that that's some valuable information. So listen, as Ty C, and I'll let Ty B have last words as Ty C, I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of Rare Talk. Your experience is definitely rare. What God is doing in your life is awesome. I'm excited. I'm hoping I'll be around to continue to watch God move you on this journey, doing some great things, going back and trying to help men and heal some other broken people. Because like I said, you know what it's like. You've experienced it. But I also believe that you are a physical being, an example to the world that, listen, once broken, but can be made whole. So I just want to say shout out to you. I want to
Thank
say
you.
kudos to you. I want to say your smile looks marvelous. And I
Thank
know that it's
you.
not just something for social media, because I've seen you in person when there was no camera, and you still wore the same smile. So I'm
Thank
just
you.
excited for what God is doing in your life and doing in ministry in your life. Stay connected to God and continue to be great.
You better believe it. Thank you.
Yes, so we do, once again, we can't thank you enough, sis. I just had to underline 2 words that stood out, and I just love how God would download stuff. So I have to speak this. I'm learning not to be quiet, because I've always, but that's a past thing. I had always been one to downplay if I hear God or I have something, because I never wanted to be seen, or, but forget people. And we ain't doing no second guessing.
Yes.
I know, but in the natural, you have you've had a coach, and because of all your training and all that, you are a certified coach, transitional life coach.
Yes.
But all you went through certified you.
Yes. Thank you.
Qualified by God.
Yes.
And the transition means you went from that pain to purpose, and you're still transitioning, and you're still about to transition all the more. And I'm like, God, I thank you. So I wanted just to share that revelation, because people will read your bio, but listen, we're not downplaying nothing. You certified because God has certified you.
Thank you.
And I was studying transition, but yeah, y'all, that's a whole nother thing. But thank y'all so much for listening. I hope the show has blessed your life like it has ours. And don't keep quiet. Anybody, you have a testimony, it is your testimony, okay? Absolutely. But if you're going to tell it, tell the truth, tell it all. But and allow God to continue to heal, promote, and elevate. So if y'all have any ideas, any topics, reach out to us at itsraretalk@gmail.com. Again, we just thank you all for just going on this ride with us. And you'll be able to see this episode again on some networks that'll be coming up really soon. We're so grateful for that. But y'all, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you.
Ready? It's Rare Talk.
Are y'all ready? Because it's Rare Talk. It's Rare Talk. It's Rare Talk. Rare, authentic, real experiences. That's what it is.